Ooh, just made it in the nick of time. Oh, early morning live streams. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Good. Hey. All right, let's pop out this chat window here. I'm kind of peering around this microphone because it's right in my face. So I should come through very loud and crystal clear to everybody. All right. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Kairos. Zachary. Lucas. Moondog. Moonring. Ken. William. Brian. Oh, that's all right, Ricky. Moonhurst. Moonthirst. Happy. You did make it, yep. Constitutionally free, Danny. Tie-dye Draconomicon. Things are good. What is up? I am up. This is morning for me at 8 a.m., 8:10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. No, hang on. No, it's a Monday morning, so it's a Sunday evening for most of you, I believe, if I've set my international time zones correctly. Yeah, experimenting with a new time. Actually, I quite often shift my times around just to see what works for everybody. Talking of excessively sexy people, Raglan, the tweet that I just put out last night, it's getting a bit of traction, which is in regards to, it wasn't somebody directly sending me like them doing sexy things with themselves. It was somebody who I had followed who had retweeted like a porn star doing some hard porn, and it was just like, that's the first time I've ever seen like porn on my tweet feed. I didn't think it would. It was killing me completely out of the blue, and I was just like, my God, I thought Twitter was like a safe platform to like browse around your friends and family. No. So yeah, that prompted my tweet of like, usually I refollow people who follow me on Twitter. But I'm going to start checking their content feed from now on to make sure that they don't post any hard porn on their Twitter feed, because that came straight through onto mine, and I was just like, well, yeah, that's not my bag. Hey, thanks, Moonring. Have some money for mead to wash away all the furry art you had to look at for the Cardinal videos. Yeah, I had to wade through a fair bit. Deviant art used to be fairly safe for me to browse, but not anymore. I hit some setting or something, I don't know, and now I get all the thirsty stuff. It's just like, yeah, so welcome to the internet. Yeah, I know. It's my fault. It's just, I was I'm in an RPG bubble on Twitter, and that got burst last night pretty hard. As far as I can tell, Twitter has been 100% trash from day one. Well, yeah, there was a post from Greg Tito this morning on Twitter, a tweet, I should say, which was, somebody's made a list of companies that are either green or yellow or red on the woke scale, with red being totally woke and broken, right? And all of the green companies are like companies that like just don't pander to that or just carry on business as usual. Like Palladium Books is on there, and Low Fantasy Gaming, and like Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and yeah, they're not in great company because there's some really nasty ones on there as well. But I thought it was really funny that all of the ones that were on the red end of the scale were the most successful companies in the business right now. So yeah, it doesn't correlate with go woke, go broke. Doesn't actually fit at all. It's a catchy phrase, but it doesn't actually track with anything. Is there a Dune RP? There's RPG. I think there's a couple. There's one which is prominent at the moment, and I think maybe there's only one actually. I'm thinking of video games. I know there's at least one Dune RPG. I can't tell you much more about it. I just know it exists. Tritter. Yeah, no, Zazek, I think Tritter was actually quite accurate. Good Old Risk was a fun game when I played years ago. It's still good. It's still good. Are we going to talk about some Magic the Gathering and D&D? I'm still convinced that House Demir has the seat of power Duskmantle. Oh, power Duskmantle in the Shadowfell. Yeah, possibly. If there is a Shadowfell, then House Demir would definitely be dominating it. Or maybe Phyrexia would be dominating the Shadowfell. It would turn it into some great big factory that just manufactures darkness. It's going well, Saitorum. Nice to see you. Stanchgate. I learned that lesson when I followed Hell of a Boss fan artist. Yeah, that was a joke. Yeah, I get it. Moonring. Am I excited for the new Dune movie? You will not find a bigger fan of Dune. Well, probably. I mean, people have got like Paul Atreides tattooed on their chest. That would be a bigger fan of Dune than me, but I've watched the movie so many times that I had to restrict myself to watching it once per birthday. Rational Redneck, thank you. Thanks for pointing me to the Mages and Sages podcast. After joining Candlekeeps, I suggested that they have you as a guest. Really? Thanks. That would be nerve-wracking. But they're a good bunch of guys. Yeah, I'd love to hang out with them and just chat in general. But remember, I come from a very different country and I'm a member of a different generation, and I'd be a beggar at their table. I quite enjoyed Sci-Fi's Dune movies. You're making a bunch of player characters today with my friends for my first campaign. I wish you all good questing. Hey! That is good. Good to hear, Aetherius Knight. I love it when I hear that people that are tuning into my channel are just starting out on the game. How merchants sell magic weapons. Like, would they call it a short sword +1? Do they know all the enchantments a weapon have? That's a good question, Rakeland. No, they wouldn't call it a short sword +1. They'd call it a magical sword. They'd sell it up like it was a +3. The sword has killed demons, my friend. Yeah, no, that's the fun bit. Is when you're if you're in a heavy role-playing situation, you don't call it a sword +1. I mean, sometimes you just do because it's convenient in the game. I mean, nobody's going to roleplay 100% of the time. Sometimes you just want to go, I want to sell my sword +1, and they'll be like, oh, that's 600 gold or whatever. But other times you just want to roleplay the situation, and the players sort of have to wait until they've bought the sword to take it somewhere. And like, it would be understandable that the dealer would not want you handling the magical sword because it's a potent. It's like handing a loaded weapon to somebody, right? So that you sort of just guess how magical it is by assessing it. So like appraising something is an insight crafting sort of check, right? Or an arcana check maybe. So you could possibly identify the sword by its maker. Like, is it elven? Is it dwarven? Is it human? Is it a tiefling sword? It's hard to tell how old a magical weapon as well, because they're so durable. You could just basically have to go by the patina on it. Thank you, Zach. Thanks, Moonring. Hey, would you fit... how would you fit Ixatzar chisels into Dark Sun? Oh, that's tricky. Because most of the, like, Dark Sun, the world of Athos, used to be covered in oceans, and the land masses were archipelagos that housed the halfling population. It was an idyllic sort of situation, kind of like one of the plains of Elysium, the one where the River Oceanus originates. So chains of archipelagos and beautiful oceans all over the planet, quite shallow seas. Great fishing, right? And then the first cataclysm saw the oceans dry up a lot for some reason because of magic being drained from the sun. And that caused the land masses to become big and lush and green. But yeah, and then they did it again, and it turned into a desert world with patches of oases where cities were built that housed tyrants. And that's the current situation we have in Dark Sun, where the sun has been diminished even more, and the world is teetering on the brink of oblivion. So where would Ixodzarchittles, a water-dwelling species, exist in that? They would exist in artificial environments. So they would have basically create, reservoirs of water underground, or possibly they would drain oases tap into underground springs for the precious water that is now vital to their existence. Or perhaps they've modified themselves so that they become sand-dwelling creatures by making pacts with elemental lords to switch from an aquatic existence to an earth-like existence. So you've got armored vampiric Ixodzarchitl who roam the desert sands like sand manta rays. You can judge a magic item age based on design. Swords may have evolution in shape and form. Cultural preferences matter too. Yeah. So the sword over our history on Earth matched a lot of technological developments with armor and mobility and access to materials. So eventually I think it was basically the saber was the end evolution point of the sword, pretty much. And of course the katana and stuff like that were probably the last technologically modified swords to deal with like armored plates and cuirasses and stuff like that, I guess, in a nutshell. The chrome finish wore off on your plastic blade on my Nissan +1 sword. Santa rays, I like it. Teetering on the blink of oblivion. Mm-hmm. For 5th edition, persuasion skill for haggling or selling if the DM allows it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, what? Didn't Kevin Simbeda lose the rights to Rifts and the Palladium system? No. Why would he do that? Why would that happen? He lost the rights to some of the IP that he was making games based on. Like he didn't renew, I think, Robotech or the Macross Saga or something like that. And he had a disastrous Kickstarter with some miniatures. He's tried to get into miniatures a couple of times with like Rifts miniatures, but they didn't sell particularly well. Or he had bad things with the production run. And his Kickstarter with the Rifts with the Robotech figures was an unmitigated disaster. Yeah. But as for, and he also gave up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license as well. So he still makes After the Bomb and post-apocalyptic animal mutant settings and things, but it's separate from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So he had to pay for the license for those. Robotech and Macross, yep. That's where you go if you want to play roleplay in Robotech and Macross Saga, Southern Cross, all that. Invid Invasion. He's also got the Mechanoid Invasion as well, which is a robot saga that he did early on, which has got nothing to do with Robotech, but it's a pretty cool setting. You're a weapon historian, I know. Yeah. I bow to your superior knowledge, Ricky. Tressum, yeah, that's true, Sky. Zazek, Ixodzarchittl get around in reverse diving suits, kind of like how we imagine people in helmet suits in the past. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Sand sharks are a fantasy classic, but flying manta rays are up there too. My favorite. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you can imagine. Like I love the idea of air jellyfish, for instance. Like you're just going about your normal business, and then all of a sudden these like tendrils zap you from the sky, and you get like hauled up by a drifting jellyfish, and then the jellyfish gets eaten by some flying air turtle. Princes of the Apocalypse actually recommend Athos as a more exciting alternative to the Desserin Valley in the Forgotten Realms. Well, they're just not doing the Desserin Valley justice. I could run an adventure in the Desserin Valley that'll make your eyes bleed, Robert. But that's just me. I mean, to be fair. Welcome, Jeff. Hey, Sir William. In your opinion, if an inactive Warforged is found male whole, I assume male is a typo, made whole, cast on, no hand. Make whole, oh yes, the spell is cast on it following by awaken, what would happen? Question came up in a game recently. Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so you'd have an awakened Warforged body without a soul. Because the Gulra is the mark on the forehead of the Warforged, harkens back to the original myth of the Golem, right, from Jewish folklore, and that's the mark of the soul, right? So that's the Gulra is the mark that channels the soul into that artificial body. So that allows Warforged to basically pass on to the afterlife. What they look like when they turn up in the afterlife, that's a question. What did that soul originally belong to? What was it destined for? Because it certainly wasn't supposed to go into an artificial body, right? So the act of creating a Warforged, I've often argued, is actually an act of evil. Because that soul's not supposed to be there. It's breaking some sort of covenant or some sort of natural process. Dwarves. It must have been dwarves. Space Whale in Spelljammer 2nd edition. True. Hey, music and stuff. Flying jellyfish sounds like something out of Zendikar. Yeah. Oh man, I love the skyclaves and all that sort of stuff. I want a Zendikar world setting. Zendikar is what I imagine the plane of air is like. That's what I would fill the plane of air with. It would be core warriors and skyclaves and thieves and spaceships and people riding around on flying jellyfish and flumps, you know. Absolutely. These beings who can't naturally fly but just like just like they can sit down and like I've got some rabbit skins and I've got some bamboo, and next minute they've built a gliding suit, you know, and they're off. Just like no compunction about, like, they'll just jump off a cliff and make something to fly on the way. Just like hit some emergency pufferfish that blows up and is buoyant. Golems are cool. Undead golems are even cooler. Doesn't awaken impart a soul? No, it does not. Or does it? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up now. You thought the Gulra were the antagonist race from Voltron. Well, yeah. There's only so many combinations of letters that make up words. Fluffy Dodo. Hello. I have a party of level 10 that's going to have their first proper venture into the Underdark next session. Any ideas that would make a nice introductory encounter? Yeah, Purple Worm. Purple Worm are ropers. Yep. A colony of ropers. That should give them pause. Zendikar is incredible, it's true. Swinging everywhere, yeah. The topic goes everywhere. Oh, that's a good idea. Robert, actually, Princes of the Apocalypse and its focus on opening portals to the elemental planes, spoiler, could be retooled into an adventure to heal Athos from the devastation it has. Tricky. Yeah, because Athos doesn't have a weave, right? And it doesn't have gods, so it's very hard to get there magically. And if you get there magically, you're kind of stuck there. Because using the magic to get off of Athos requires evil magic, mostly. Flying sunfish would be pretty cool to see, yeah. Thanks, Kakas. Hey AJ, playing NMS as we speak. NMS. What do you think about the new Moss Eisley? NMS. It's got to be a Star Wars thing. Where are my Star Wars books? Oh, they're over there, holding down my camera. What do you think about the new Moss Eisley looking base building parts and settlements? Firefly Star Wars time. I'm not familiar. Could you clarify what NMS is? I'm really bad with acronyms, I'm sorry. Half red dragon troll immune to fire. Yeah, even red dragons would like pause about making something like that. Maybe. Because they'd turn on the red dragon, probably. Undead golem. I thought to be undead you had to be alive first. No, I mean like making a golem out of skeletal parts. Basically a bone golem. A drow patrol, yep. Do you play Magic? Yeah, I play Magic. I play Magic Arena. I've got some old cards sitting in a box somewhere, gathering dust. I don't play physical Magic. I play Magic Arena. Magic the Gathering Arena. And I'm pretty good at it. Not great, but I get to Platinum and, I go up the ranks every month. Thanks, PT Smith. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that the Elysium video and the Cardinal video have done. So I'm going to be continuing on with like Hollyphant and some other celestial creatures. So it's kind of like Celestial Month. But also, I realize that a lot of people want dragons and giants and demons and devils, and I'm definitely going to be bringing some demons to the table, as well as other monsters and stuff, and locations. Peter Griffin, any thoughts on more Rifts content? I might do some crossovers into Rifts lore and things, and like how Rifts differs in the way it handles interdimensional gateways and portals and things. Because the way that ley lines and magical energy flows and stuff work in Rifts really is a parallel to how things work in Dungeons and Dragons for the cosmology of the game. So when the gods aren't involved and they haven't like created some system of enhancing or protecting natural energy by infusing divine energy from the outer planes into the world, people who use or tap into energies to cast spells damage the natural environment, unless they're like Wuji monks or whatever that know feng shui and stuff. So I also love the idea of like if I'm running an adventure in Thay and Narfell and Damara and the Endless Wastes and stuff, you have these traveling monks and wizards essentially that use the natural energy. So they're like druid wizards, right? They can also kick your ass. They're the guys with the long wispy beards and stuff who walk around in robes and stuff and just like and move like things around and then and they're like dancing their kata and stuff, and they cast fireball, and you're like, where did that come from? And then they do it again, and then they do it again, and then like the trees start to wilt and die, and they're like, whoa, stop before I disrupt anything. But that sort of magic, if they overdo it, if they're like evil, can damage the landscape. And we've seen in Elven history, they wiped out, like the High Moor used to be a massive forest that just got like burnt to the ground and never regrew. It's complicated. I'm glossing over things. Moonring, thank you. If you were a Cardinal, what would it be? I'd obviously be an Ursinal. Clearly. In fact, I think I have a milk biscuit somewhere. No, I don't have any snacks on my person because I'm not wearing my robes right now. But yes, I'd be a Ursinal. For sure. Ever thought about streaming Magic the Gathering Arena? I do that on my Discord chat when I'm chatting with people on Discord and I run games of Magic while I'm playing. I don't do that as YouTube content. Although I have made a video where I was playing a few games back a long time ago. Sage, nice to see you. You shocked you made it into a live stream for once. Yeah, nice to see you. Have I ever played RuneQuest? Lactaka. No, I haven't, but I've read through some of the material. No, I just never had the opportunity to sit down and play it. Voices from the Dark, nice to see you. PDL. The Nazugon video. Imagine a cool. That's technical, Zachary. Imagine a Kardashev Type 2 magic civilization going around using immense portals to just dump air and water on a planet. Yeah, in fact, the the Mind Flayers built a planet at the height of their empire. Can't get enough of that sweet, sweet Palladium. Yeah, it's funny that Palladium has got some real diehard fans, and I'm one of those diehard fans. Like, I'll hear like every criticism about the Palladium rule system is quite true. Like, yeah, it's complicated, it's clunky, sometimes it clashes horribly, the balance is terrible, but I don't care. I've played so many great games of Palladium. It's got a different vibe from Dungeons and Dragons. It allows you to have far more intimate and action-packed, like nuanced combats with parries and dodges and all that sort of stuff. Your armor gets shredded and you have to take it off, and fighting against I could go on and on about it. Splugorth, yep, Atlantis, interdimensional arms dealers. I love Phase World. I wasn't so much into the Coalition War campaign and fighting against Laszlo and all, and the Federation of Magic. That's not really my bag because I'm not familiar enough with North America really. So I came up with the Manastic Imperium because it was kind of like an empty space when I started, and Manastic Imperium became my crossover to between Rifts and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles space setting. So I had the Spinac and the Tubo aliens showed up, and the Deants. What's my favorite Pokemon? Magikarp. I don't know. Probably Snorlax. Adrianeth, good morning. The Fewer Cardinal question is basically asking your fursona. Okay. Don't drag me down into that rational redneck. I'm not a furry. I already did mass amounts of infernal and abyssal stuff. Now it's time for celestial stuff. Pretty much, Don. Oh, a new cardinal type. Okay. If I was a new type of cardinal, why not a kiwi? Let's see. There's no aquatic cardinals. What about a... well, I suppose you could be an otter. I really do like otters. Wombat. A wombat cardinal. Mr. Sai, I'm doing well. How are you? Do I know anything about Mind Flayer Disc World from Spelljammer? A little bit. There is a impressive body of lore and literature that Bruce Cordell made for Mind Flayers, and that's really good reading. Also, Mr. X just did a video on the undead. He got a source book that was written basically by Ed Greenwood, and Ed Greenwood's first edition vision of what the undead are like for Forgotten Realms specifically. And there's a lot of stuff in there, like particularly at the end of the video, he talks a lot about tricks that you can use against undead, and why holy water works, and why garlic works against vampires, and how salt can be used, and things like that. It's really good watching. I would recommend going and watching that video. Also, I can sneakily confirm that there was a secret meeting between Jordan and me and Mr. Rex, and we sat down and had a recorded conversation, and it's going to be on Mr. Rex's channel soon. So everybody, please, when that pops up, go and watch it and say hi. Like everybody. Garden or Ixen's chittles, perhaps? No. A wombat? No. A marsupial. Marsupial. A wombat gardener would basically just charge at a solid surface, a solid structure, and demolish it. So they'd have the siege quality to all of their attacks, double damage against inanimate objects. Thank you, Tessius. Hello, glad to finally catch one of these live. I recently discovered your channel. Just wanted to say you do an amazing job promoting the realms for those of us who are daunted by the body of lore. Yeah, you're most welcome. Thank you. It's true. It's true, Mark. Yes. I know you're cross fandom. Mike, what? It's true. A giant tank, yeah. A whole subplane in their pouch. I like it. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's true. Happy Labor Day from the States, AJ. Can't wait for my big pocket stuff to get there. Thanks, Comic Nut. Yeah, finally, I think we've got, what's the date today? The 6th, so it's another 4 days before the manufacturing of the battle mats is finished, and we start shipping everything out. Unfortunately, for the people who haven't sorted out your shipping costs and who haven't answered their surveys, I think there's about 48 people left on that list. They've missed out. The shipping is now so high that we can't do any late stuff, which is unbelievable. I sent out about, 20 reminder emails to everyone, and I just got contacted by somebody last night who said that they have trouble getting emails from Backakit, and I'm like, well, if you know that, why did you wait until like 2 days after I said like final notice before you contacted me? It's like, go to Backakit support and sort out your emails, but you've missed out. The deadline has passed. Wombats destructive. They can be. They're burrowing. So, they can be destructive. But basically, they're like marsupial sheep. They've got incredibly dry and digestive system because they suck everything they possibly can out of the grass that they eat. Accidentally running into you might cause unintentional deaths. Yeah, it's true. If you run into me unexpectedly, you're going to bounce off me. I can guarantee that. It's not my fault I'm big and strong. I don't even exercise. Actually, I do exercise for my mental and physical well-being. Battle mats, that's right. Is the secret video about Ixazachitl's Illuminati? No, it is not, Moonring. We don't mention Ixazachitl's once. Sorry. What we do talk about is our thoughts on the state of the game, essentially. What we think about the current fandom. Mr. X does a lot of polls, and he's got a lot of data from his very, very wide reach. So he when he puts out a poll, he can get 20,000 people answering. So that's a really good slice of the fandom. So yeah, I do recommend going and voting on Mr. X's polls in his community tab because they're often quite interesting and they really help his channel. And yeah, he's got a huge channel, but he needs help too. Oh dear. Oh, Sir William. Yeah, thank you. Wombat's the one with cube poop. Yeah, they got the driest poop in the world. It's drier than camel shit, basically. It's quite amazing. Womflat? Dare you to explain SDC versus MDC damage type and rifts? Easy. Dude. A ferretinal. Well, the muscinol can appear like ferrets and mice. Some of them even look rabbit-like. So it's not. They don't have a uniform appearance. The Cardinals. That's something I probably should have mentioned. Some of them are a bit more animalistic than others. Some of them who spend a lot of time in the beastlands walk around on all fours, which I do mention. Yeah, I've seen it referred to Mr. X and AJ and Jordan as like the Holy Trinity, and I think that was Mr. X, me, um, Matt Colville, somebody else, something. In my opinion, which TMNT theme song is the best? None of them. I think I lost a lot of interest in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles once they became a syndicated cartoon and the whole pizza thing. Remember, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were ninjas that killed people from a role-playing game and comic book series. And then they got turned into a cartoon. A thylacine cardinal, yeah. Now we're talking. Does wombat poop make good fertilizer? All poop makes good fertilizer depending on how you use it. Frog cardinal. Oh, yeah, amphibians. That's a good idea. Something like a salamander or an axolotl or a newt. I wonder if anyone has ever made a poop golem. Guaranteed. Let's see. Troglodyte wizard would make a poop and decaying food golem. Mattress. I have an area in my world where a long time ago an enormous disintegrate bomb went off, leading to the land being eternally ash. What creatures do you think would live there? Something like what do they call them? Those ant lions. So they create a funnel that things fall into, and then like the almighty Sarlacc from or I think it's Sarlacc from Star Wars. Also, just elementals, and of course undead. Undead that like walk through the top layer of ash because it would be like a drifting sand dune. The three lawkeepers, nice. Insect cardinals, possible. Insects are much more lawfully aligned, though, typically. Esper the Bard is more suitable for that category. Mm-hmm. He's hard at work finishing off his book from the Kickstarter. Cat poop is far from true. Cat poop is atrocious fertilizer. Yeah, but it's still organic material, so you can enrich it with all sorts of other things. It creates a granular substrate that you can add, moss and mold and stuff to. So throw in, all sorts of stuff. You can build it, you can build soil from damn near. You're talking to a person who's basically a hobbit, okay? I could grow something on an oily rag. No problem. I don't need to sleep tonight anyway. That's right. It is Sarlacc. Thank you. Don't fall into the Sarlacc twice. Oh, Gino, could the Tarask be able to kill Demogorgon in his home plane? No. Demogorgon doesn't really have a home plane. He's got a place where he hangs out, but the entire abyss is his. He is the prince of the abyss. What's the worst golem type? I've had some pretty gnarly encounters with iron golems. Iron golems are generally very nasty. Anybody who makes a golem that's beyond an iron golem is just, yeah. I'm like, are you trying to kill everything? Silver dragon or steel dragon? Silver dragon. Also, would you ever consider doing each gem dragon? Yeah, sure. What's my favorite monster name? Mine is the Thokwa. I don't know. It's like if somebody asks me what's my favorite monster question, I just like my brain goes wandering over a maelstrom of screaming activity. Like there's pandemonium of monster information back here. It's just a howling gale of facts and data. It'd be like reaching into a storm and just picking out a bit of detritus. Star Wars thought of the scariest space parasites. No, I think the movie Aliens came up with the scariest space parasites. Ooh, cardinal platypus. A calzone golem. Nice. Or the Thing. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the Thing's an entirely new category of scary. The fact that like they take you over at a cellular level. If like every single time I'm like watching that Thing prequel thingy, and they're watching the computer display, or they're looking through a microscope at cells, and then they see what it's doing. Even dead things like taking over cells, and they're just like, oh, this is an extinction level event that we're talking about. We have to kill everything. Like any scientist would be like, we have to kill everything. Everyone here has to die and be burnt. Like nobody can ever find the bodies. I'd be exactly the same. I'd kill everybody on the base, like instantly, for the greater good. Utilitarian philosophy. Don't worry, we all know existentials are your favorite. I only say them all the time because you make me, Moonring. Are there evil elven gods that aren't drow? Yeah. I mean, they're all a little bit evil. Cardinal Kiwi, yeah. Nice one, Drake. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, you call them a quasit. I call them an innuminal footumch. If anybody can tell me where I get the words innuminal footumch from, you get 50 points to your house. Oh, yeah, Spaceballs. A honey badger cardinal. Wolverine cardinal. Yeah, Australia is not evil. Absolutely. Elven supremacist. Giant moa cardinal. Are there centaur gods? I mean, maybe. I don't generally play them that way. They're more, nature sort of worshippers. Hey Zazek, thank you. You win 50 points. That's right. It's from the young ones with Rick Mayall and yeah. That's going back a few years. They summoned like one of them couldn't read the instructions on like a table or something or other, and he said a numinal footimch, and that happened to be the name of a devil that got summoned to the prime material plane to because somebody said its name, and it was like a really hard name to say. So it was like, I never get to go up, but they had like no luck. Mountain lion cardinal, yep, that would be a Leonal. Cardboard golems, yeah, basically just a wood golem. Ooh, Tarsiers. Ooh. You're actually doing some push-ups and crunches while the video chat is on. Nice, guy. You've gone down the whole MMA route. You would definitely be you'd be a fan of the Equinals, because those guys they're right into the combat sports. Of course, you don't want to get into a sparring match with those guys because they don't hold back. D&D with or without miniatures. It entirely depends on the situation. If I'm sitting down at a table at a convention or something, yeah, miniatures. I've got lots of miniatures. I've got lots of miniatures that I lend out to people because I don't have people around me to play miniatures games with. But these days I do a lot of like online gaming, so miniatures aren't useful. So yeah, but I love miniatures. It was a breakfast cereal contest. Ixion is the centaur deity in D&D, right? Oh, there you go. Can be. Fish cardinals. Mm-hmm. Old radio mystery programs. That's a good idea, Mark. Has Demogorgon ever taken human form? Not that I know of. It's tricky because of his two personalities. So, like, which personality is talking to you at the time? Yeah, Mark, that sounds cool. Did I ever get into Warhammer stuff? Yeah, I love Warhammer stuff. Like I've read Gaunt's Ghosts series, Eisenhorn. Like I like the Inquisitors series, basically. All of like anything that Dan Abletts writes, I will probably read. Yeah, I've got. Let's see. Where is it? Deathwatch. So yeah. I've only got to play a couple of sessions of this, but I'd love to run like an only war campaign, and of course like Road Trader and stuff like that. Fantastic games, really good. Highly recommend. Demogorgon is an Eton. He could take the form of an Eton. Okay. Two human forms like spy versus spy. That's a great idea. Wow. Two incarnated souls of Demogorgon who are fighting against each other. That could take place on so many different levels. The Tau, I do like the Tau. I got to admit, they're one of my favorites. Because they're a more sneaky, pernicious sort of an evil. Like, I think the Tau are the greatest risk to outlying human colonies in Warhammer, because they're so reasonable, right? Let's come and join our collective. Everybody benefits as long as you're under our control. Yeah, he probably does Moonring, all things considered. Games Workshop doesn't let people do lore videos. Well, Games Workshop can go bite me. They have no control over what I do whatsoever. If I want to read from this book online, there is nothing they can do to stop me. I'm not going to, though, because D&D is a gelatinous cube that's devouring Ravnica and moving on to... yeah. A tardigrade Cardinal. Come on, that's indestructible. Think you'll remaster your Nine Hells Devil videos like some of your Giants and Dragon ones? Yeah, possibly. Like, there's so much for me to cover. And sometimes it's like, I just want to kind of leave like some of those videos as they are so you can see how the channel has progressed and improved, you know? Sound quality and writing scripts and subtitles and timestamps and all that sort of stuff. No fan animations, but lore, possibly, yeah. There's tons of Warhammer fantasy lore, Warhammer lore videos. I can think of some really good creators who come up with stuff. Read the Black Crusade instead. Yeah, Horus Heresy. That's a lot of books. Acerak is possibly the most powerful wizard. Vecna is the most powerful wizard. He's a god. There's so much stuff coming out on Kickstarter right now. It's definitely the age of Kickstarter, for sure. It's the age of independent content. Yeah, 5th edition is like just... It's a torrential outpouring of creativity that's adding to the mass. But like years from now, people who play 5th edition are still going to be like catching up on additional content that they can use from Kickstarters and Drive Through RPG and the DM's Guild even. Human Cardinal, well, they're all kind of human. What is the most random thing you have in a campaign? Oh, let's see. What's some of the most random things that we had recently? Stuff that like has a huge impact. The pink spice radically changed the situation in a town where people were addicted to basically was super MSG created by distilling and alchemically fixing the squirting emissions of a delicious pink slime. So you got this innocent little pink slime that all it does is it squirts basically a flavor enhancer and beautiful, gorgeous scent on top of a creature of some kind, preferably like a predator or a prey creature, and then it will run away. So that's all it does is it sneaks up, squirts them, and then takes off and tries to get away because it's quite feeble and it can't fight things. And then it sniffs, waits for a while until everything has gone quiet, and then it picks up its own scent trail and it follows along on that trail. And what happens is the creature that's had the skunk spray of deliciousness sprayed all over it then attracts predators, all kinds of hungry things to it, and of course combat ensues. And then when it's all over and done, either it survives and it's killed the predator, or it gets killed and mostly eaten, and another predator moves on and leaves behind a carcass. And that's what the pink slime eats. So it's a ambush scavenger. But the thing is, you can harvest that skunk spray that it gives off and turn it into the pink spice. This is why Piercer here has got a pink donut on his head to represent that he's off the pink spice, because he's a pink spice addict. Oh. What would happen if I somehow entered into the far realm? I'd get horribly mutated. Isn't Mystra the most powerful wizard? Well, Mistress is Mystra is a god of magic. Vecna isn't really as constrained as Mystra is. Vecna can travel to different worlds and things. Mystra is stuck on the Forgotten Realms. No, I don't think. I think we've got at least another 5 years of 5th edition. Easy. 5th edition will be probably the longest running edition of Dungeons and Dragons ever, because it's just not slowing down, and it's not stopping making money. It's just making money hand over fist. In fact, look at all the products, mainstream products that are coming out. We had a Nerds D&D boxed set of D&D nerds that who was it? I think it was Greg Tito. Oh no, it was his name escapes me. Todd Kendrick had a Nerds D&D thing, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty close to my golden standard. Would be D&D Barbie. As soon as we get a D&D Barbie, that's it. Our hobby is now mainstream. We can talk about it to anybody on the street. Does the being AO have power over the Abyss at all? No. Cass was insane trying to kill Vecna. Yeah. See, Edward. Thanks for all the smiley faces. Where can I learn more about gateway towns? I suppose from me. I'll do a video on them for you. Yeah, if you incorporate the Planescape and Spelljammer and all that sort of stuff, gods can't travel from one sphere to another. It's very difficult for them. In fact, you just got to look at the Malharandi gods and see how difficult it was for them to get from Earth to Toril. In fact, it split their pantheon. Yeah. Like Geb got separated from Newt. There's D&D candy coming out. Yep. D&D 5.5 is much more likely after that Wizards of the Coast survey. Yeah, something like that. There were D&D dice at Arby's. Does AO have power anywhere in the Outer Planes? No, not really. He's the overgod of Toril. Thanks, Moonring. Do you have any advice on making a source book? Okay. A lot of people who play D&D will pick up a source book based on the content that they can pick and choose from. They don't necessarily want to run an entire campaign. They just want to grab it. That's why 5th edition has been releasing gazettas, right? So this is not a source book on Xanathar. It's a gazetta which is basically a mixed bag. It's like a magazine full of different elements that you can add to your game. That's great for people like me who just pick it up and want to use things. It's difficult in the context of Dungeons and Dragons now is majority played online. A lot of people play because we're in a pandemic, right? So a lot of people have been using Roll20 and various other platforms to play the games. Those platforms have to be able to incorporate all this new material when it comes out. So it's a constant catch-up game for them every time that one of these new supplements comes out. That now we have a new option for warlocks that we have to integrate. Now we have new magical items, new spells and things like that. So it's difficult. But therein lies the beauty of those sort of platforms. You don't necessarily have to buy all the books and stuff. You just would have to buy a subscription to Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds and unlock all that material. Problem is, then you've got licensing issues because all of that material has to get Wizards of the Coast has to get their cut out of any content that they put out being put onto those platforms, because otherwise, who would buy the books? Also, I think Wizards of the Coast it needs to update their, you need to get at least a discount on the physical books if you bought the PDF officially online. And that's easy enough. All they need to do is give you a code that you can redeem, or the store can redeem. And even if it's like Amazon or something like that, because, not that many people go to game stores these days either. Like, in the back of my head, I'm worried that when we switch over to a new edition, all of the digital content that I bought will eventually go bye-bye. They'll just phase it out. When really, when you're buying digital content from somebody like D&D Beyond, then they're obligated to keep that online for you forever, right? Because there's nothing in the clause or contract that says, oh, well, in 20 years' time, we're just going to delete this content. No, you have to host that forever, because I bought that from you. Or if you are going to delete it, then you give me an option of getting a physical product. Because there was a lot of stuff from 4th edition which was really handy that is now gone. And I paid a subscription for stuff like that. So, yeah, my advice on making a source book would be to make a gazetteer. So, a grab bag of different material that you can use. Chris Perkins for Sexiest Man of the Year. How did Vecna discover the secret of Tharizdun? I don't know. He was tutored by one of the primal serpents of magic, so maybe the serpent told him. You unironically want a Fortnite D&D crossover. It would do wonders for D&D. It's a little bit simplistic, isn't it? Is there a lot of lore behind Fortnite? What's my favorite monster from a third-party book? Well, I'm going to be inventing some of them for the next Feywild Through the Mists book. In fact, I'm making 8 monsters for that. Oh yeah, the Through the Feywild book, Through the Veil, second edition of that series, the one with my forward in the front of it, that has just been released for print on demand on Drive-Thru RPG, which is definitely a feather in the cap of Elise and all the content creators for that series. What if D&D went mainstream? You mean like it was in the late 80s? Far more than it was in the late 80s. Yeah, AO has the on-off switch on Toril. And not only that, specific parts of Toril. You're waiting for your silicon goodie? You're welcome. Sadly, the 2 game shops in my town shut down due to COVID. Yeah, they're running on very tight margins as it is. So any support that, like if they've got online sales and you want them to stay open, you got to buy some stuff from them. The Trinket roll table, yeah. Brian, don't hold back. Licensing is shit because copyright is bad. It would also work if you got a discount on the PDF if you got the paper book, which may be easier logistically. Yeah, that I also agree with that. Yeah, the flip side. Hate to say that the electronic content will disappear one day. Yeah, so bear that in mind when you're paying top dollar for electronic content. I don't agree with paying print prices for PDFs. No. AJ, question for you. Would a frost giant village work led by a cloud giant, making the frost giants tend to be good? Why would the frost giants tend to be good? Yeah, it works. You just got to look at like Forgotten Realms history. The Frost Giants and the Cloud Giants work together, but the Frost Giants are definitely commanded by the Cloud Giants. No, Fortnite has nada lore. To use anything on Roll20 outside of SRD, you've got to buy the books on Roll20, just like D&D Beyond. Yeah. Right? That's even more sketchy. I think Vecna becomes sort of a black hole of secrets the moment he becomes a god of dangerous secret knowledge. So secrets just find their way to him. Yeah, that's his portfolio. So Vecna is secrets. That's how portfolios work. He's the personification of deep secrets, dark secrets. Fortnite surprisingly has a huge lore. Oh, we've got a diametrically opposed set of opinions here. Some people say that's got none, and Mike, you're saying it's got a huge amount of lore. Well, Mike, you may be poised to make a product that everybody wants. Asmodeus has fusion warheads and Vecna has Google. Sounds legit. Yeah, Vecna is Google. Magic the Gathering Fortnite would make more sense, and even that is reaching. Well, Magic the Gathering is now D&D, so... Would Vecna be offended to know that I think his name sounds feminine? Vecna. Vecna. This is my daughter Vecna. Oh, that just sounds so wrong. Yeah, I don't think Vecna really gets offended. Have I ever played Darkest Dungeon? No, I haven't. It's not really my bag. It would get more people into D&D. Well, yeah, there's a lot of ways of getting people into D&D, and it's doing quite well at the moment. How would you place the Sonic Mobius world to fit into D&D? I'd basically make it another a sphere in wild space that you can go visit. I've not read all the contracts. I think you overestimate your rights to online content. Unless it's on your own hard drive, they can cut you off. Good luck getting a printout bankruptcy. Well, Brian, that's very negative. Maybe you need to have another cup of coffee and chill out. Ooh, some people getting riled up about this. I bought the collector's box for Tabula Rasa, massive multiplayer online RPG. Sigh. Yeah, I had a friend who bought the World of Warcraft RPG, and we played some sessions of that. Killed a lot of quill boars. Didn't really do much else. What's my favorite class and subclass? My favorite class is Cleric. My favorite subclass would be Cleric. What would I want to see from an Ixatar book? I'd want to see undersea empires. I'd want to see their trade network. I'd want to see the subsidiary races that are left devastated in the wake of the Ixatar Empire. I want to see their plans and machinations. I want to see what the worship of Demogorgon looks like. Yeah, just, take me undersea. Make me believe it exists. Give me lots and lots of stuff that I can throw into, like the Sea of Fallen Stars, or the Great Sea, or the Shining Sea, or ocean worlds, where there's no land masses, or just the occasional land mass. So you've got like humans who exist as mariners, with mutant guilds and stuff like Waterworld. Dark Secrets of the Bees. Fortnite only has lore if you have MatPat's job. Okay. Did I mention I've never played Fortnite? Oof. Boy, you guys are racing through the chat now. A D&D Goosebumps crossover. young adult fiction definitely has a place in D&D. Oh, interesting, Sir William. No, I've always thought of Vecna as a male name. Strange. Sue sounds nothing like Vecna. I wish they had PDF codes if you bought the real books. Really nice to have both. Yeah, absolutely. It's so much easier to like search through stuff on PDFs. And AJ, yeah, you're pretty optimistic about digital. They can go, yeah, okay, thanks, bye, and take everything you bought and just, if they shut down. Yeah, exactly. So you should at least have the option, right, of like anything that you've unlocked on D&D Beyond, you should be able to download that onto your computer, for sure. And there's ways to do that. There's ways to lock PDFs. So you have to like type in a code to unlock your PDF. And yes, people will break that and disseminate information, but all of the material on like every book that Wizards of the Coast puts out is available as a PDF instantaneously for people who want to find it. Instantly. So it's like, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like, get over yourselves, man. PDFs just are. Illegal pirated PDFs just happen. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So you might as well just like live in that reality. Nobody can stop internet pirating. It's a part of the economy. It has been for a very long time now. Get over it. Who's that author? I think it's Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman, who's like, yeah, I'm fine with pirated PDFs because that's free advertising for me. And I'm exactly that way. I will browse PDFs of material before I buy the physical books because I love books. I love having books at the table. I want to have books at the table. I don't browse through PDFs on my phone at the table. I like to actually have books. Even when I'm playing online games, I like to have the books available for me. Sometimes I'll open up a PDF, but most of the time, books. I love the feel of books. I love the smell of books. I like the prestige of having these babies and the fact that they're going to be around for a very long time. This is an archive, a beautiful archive of material. This is a luxury product. This is a badge of honor. These are my babies. I love books. The bees. Oh yeah, another thing. If you're making a source book and you've got weird names in there, put a pronunciation guide in there. For goodness sake, please. Ah, yes, there is a connection between Tasha and Leviathan. It's a bit nebulous, but yeah, there is a connection. I could probably put that in a D&D video at some point. I need more clarification on it, though. Yeah, the PDFs are free if you know where to look, and it's not hard to find them. Yeah, Kickstarter is a perfect example of like the reality. So you expect to get a PDF of the physical book that you bought. You just expect to on Kickstarter. It's a no-brainer. What would I call the thing if it had a name? Well, how would I describe it? Apex biological form. ABF. Super adaptoid. I don't know. Yes. I mean, anybody with the name Sage in their name, Sage Sheehan, you gotta love books. You should be able to access the material you buy online, but you can't. And piracy is illegal, but that is because the law is wrong and we need to change it. Like, the law exists to protect people from pirating. You got to give them a window to make money. And I think that's there needs to be some give and take, right? Because if the pirates are too like disrespectful of the fact that people are trying to make a living creatively, like anybody who's written a book knows how much effort goes into writing a book. Particularly a D&D source book or a role-playing game or something like that. So you got to give them a window of a few months to make some money, right? And And Kickstarter and things are great for that because they can generate those funds and get a product produced and earn some money from that, and then use that money to go on creating more stuff. So there's a balance between, okay, I've pirated their product and I've released it for free for everybody. Now this person is not earning as much money from like just the exclusivity of it, but they may get like more fame and stuff down the road, so it's easier for them to produce stuff, but they need to put food on the table for their families right now. So you can't take that away from them. You got to give them a window where they're making exclusive money off their product. So it's a balancing act. It's an ecosystem. Pirating is not going to stop. You have to accept that happens. But people who are pirating content, you need to understand that you could be like cutting off the source of that content. And it's not an endless stream of talent. People who don't make any money off their book are not going to make another one. Unless you're somebody like me who would just like make it because I want to. But still, I don't know. I'm not putting it very well in words, but you get the idea. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who just don't care. They'll just pirate something as soon as they see it, and they'll put it out there as quickly as they can. Also, if you're going to pirate something into a PDF, do a good job of it. Like, make it a searchable PDF. Actually put some work into it, you lazy piece of shit. Like, make a decent PDF. You know what I mean? Like, a pirated PDF that I can't copy-paste text from? Oh, it's so annoying. I should point out that practically everything I have here, apart from, pretty much all the D&D books I have here that aren't independent content, I have a PDF version of it. I don't think I've got a version of, I don't have any of the Kobold Press stuff, I don't think. I don't have Call of Cthulhu. I don't have Out of the Box by Nerdarchy. Various other things. I don't have a PDF version of Pip Yap's Guide to the Nine Hells, I don't think. But yeah, pretty much everything else I've got PDF versions of. So it just goes to show that like I have the physical books and the PDFs. Books can be corrupted. Really? The Infectoid. I like it. Be better pirates, yeah. Arr, you're ashamed of the pirating world. Yeah, be supportive, but don't be abused by corporate greed. Exactly. I really am a beer gardener, it's true. Yeah, so the corporate world needs to realize that don't come down on us because we're using every resource at our disposal. Like, you don't have any control over us. Don't dictate morals to us. Live in the reality. If your books are too damn expensive, we're going to PDF it. If you don't have PDFs that are available with your book, we're going to find somebody that does. Because we need PDFs. I've heard that some people will find the PDF for free, and if they like it, they'll buy. Yeah, Stanchgate. I'm one of those people. I don't, like, professionally, of course, I do not encourage anybody to download PDF materials, and I don't provide resource links to find those PDF materials. But I'm an old school role player that uses modern materials. I'm a researcher for videos. A lot of the material that I find, I can't find physical books for that. Like a lot of the old first edition, second edition stuff, if I tried to get some of those books on Amazon, I'd be out of business. They are so expensive. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get that information any way I possibly can. For you. And for me. Yep, that's how the market works. Is D&D available in China? Yes, it is. Funny thing, different countries have different preferences for RPGs and stuff. Like over in Brazil, for instance, it's all Call of Cthulhu. And I think Call of Cthulhu is also the top seller in Japan. I think it's Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. So D&D is not the go-to for them. It's Call of Cthulhu. Japan has that T one. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'll have to research that. A beer garden will never pirate. Nonsense. A beer garden, if it doesn't have the information, will know where to find it. So they'll know that PDFs exist and stuff. OCR is needed to make a partied PDF, and until very recently was very bad, and you had to choose between the crisp but typo-heavy OCR text or the correct but often fuzzy scan. Yeah. Thing is, you can make a scan and then use optical character recognition afterwards. So make a good scan of it, and then, I don't know, somebody will make a better version of that PDF. Like, okay, as a content creator, if I'm going to write a resource, like for instance, I never bothered getting a patent or anything like that on the battle mats because it's ridiculous. They're going to be copied almost instantaneously. So my objective was to get a good product out there as quickly as I could, and then sell the rights on essentially to somebody else who operates the ongoing business of it. And then I get a percentage of any sales from that later on. That's I'm not interested in being a product producer. I'm interested in designing products and using my marketing ability to get those made. But yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, particularly with international shipping and everything at the moment. Oh man, you guys have got no idea. Since since the end of the Kickstarter funding till now, the shipping prices have gone up 28%. If that, like, does that give you some idea of what the shipping crisis is doing at the moment? That's air shipping, not sea freight shipping. The sea freight shipping is ridiculous. It's like 300%. It's just crazy right now. Anyway, because there's like no air traffic, so limited supply, increases demand, price goes up. It's pretty simple economics. Anyway, as a content producer, if I'm going to produce a book on a Kickstarter or something like that, I accept that it's going to be pirated as a PDF. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because that's just getting the word out to people. It's like free advertising for me. It's not really going to hurt physical sales of the book, is what I'm saying. It's not really going to hurt it. It's only going to increase it. Yeah, next year's shipping will be 3 to 4 times what it is now. That's true. Yeah, open source material is really good. It's true. Are Warforged closer to golems or earth elementals? They're closer to golems, but they're golems plus souls. They're very much like a amalgam of alchemy and magic, sort of. Moonring, you want to make me an Ixatzarchitl god? Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I was raised in a seafood restaurant, so I know more about fish than is healthy to know. To be fair, I've eaten more types of fish than any of you. I can guarantee it. I have eaten moonfish. Oh, moonfish. I've eaten deep fried harpooker steaks, flounder, gurnard, ling, all just heaps of different sharks. Yeah. I've even eaten raw sea urchin roe. Sir Pickett, here is there anything you've been wishing to find in third-party content, like a certain type of random roll table or just topics you'd wish to see more of? Yeah, so Kobold Press has got really good books that are, I'll show them to you. This is the sort of stuff that I love and I print out and use. Oof. Hang on. Maybe don't try and grab them all at once, AJ. Okay. So this, you'll never find anywhere. I can guarantee it. Is Sporting Pool of the Elder Things. It is a very clunkily put together, horribly overinflated page count collection of random roll tables for making Call of Cthulhu monsters, basically. It's so big. It exceeded the print capacity of the company that I got to print this out for me. That's an illegal PDF, by the way, but you can't buy it in print. You cannot buy it in print. This is the Net Librum of Oryx's Net Librum of Random Magical Effects, version 2.0. It is a random 10,000 roll table, so you use like 4d10 to roll on this table, and it's like, for example, caster is certain that he is transformed into a horrible monster. Okay, this is Raging Swan Press. They have got a great amount of these really good ones. So this is GM's Miscellany Wilderness Dressing. So heaps of system neutral tables, random roll tables for, let's see, Forest and Woodland Dressing. Number 53. An abandoned bandit's hideout is hidden behind a row of trees. Several old campfires and piles of rubbish bear mute testimony to the bandit's presence. So when I am just doing a dungeon crawl or a wilderness crawl or something like that, and I want to randomly roll to see what they encounter, bingo. The only difficulty is this is actually better as PDFs because you need to search whether, like, I want to be able to type into a search box exactly what table I want and it pop up and be able to roll on it instantaneously. So as a game resource, as a physical book, this isn't actually as much use as a searchable PDF. So, yeah. There is a website where you can go and find random roll tables, though, and you can also contribute your own, which is really great. I should make a video about that too. This is, again, Raging Swans Press, GM's Miscellany Urban Dressing, a system neutral resource for towns and stuff. Okay, so guild halls, types of guild halls. Number 81. Companion Guild, formal organization of prostitutes, courtiers, and courtesans as a profession that needs very little to get started. Practitioners organize into guilds more often than in large societies with minimal laws, as a means of protection or in heavily affluent societies where formal training is needed as a matter of course. Great. Realistic. This is Dungeon Dressing. Random table here. Captives. Adventurers. Number 18. Sindler Bovril, a lawful good female gnome paladin, level 5, sits quite still for a gnome, none of the fidgeting or shifty eyes that characterizes many of her kind. She appears, that's a bit racist, she appears possessed of a grim purpose and solemnly thanks the party for their aid before they even offer it. Golden-haired and amber-eyed, she is one of the noblest looking people the party have ever seen, both in her stature and composure. Her imprisonment does nothing to mute her determined spirit. Bingo. NPC, right off the bat. This is the Codex of the Infinite Planes, and this is by... written and designed by Weird Dave Coulson. It's it's third-party content from Wizards of the Coast material. This is from www.criticalhit.biz, critical/hit.biz, published by onemanstudio.de. And this is not just the plane of fire. This is actually like lots of different planes. Plane of water, got the plane of dreams, all that sort of stuff. So I use these in my my videos. They're so good. So they've got a basic overview of what the plane is, and they've got a few like encounters, some monsters and things like that. Really quite useful. So I've been collecting these and printing them off as they produce them, but I'm still waiting for essentially a collected book for the internet, because it will be the Codex of the Infinite Planes. It'll be a massive book once it's done. Treasures and trinkets. I loot the body. Let's see. Treasure chests. A small bowl rests on a thin, narrow, waist-high column near the wall. The bowl radiates faint necromantic magic. Dripping blood into the bowl causes the nearby secret door to open. See what I mean? Really handy. So I don't have to think of stuff. I just roll on the table, and I'm entertained as well as the DM. Formerly trained prostitutes, it's true. If AJ has taught you one thing, it's that nobody cares what you play at your table. Nobody cares. Do what you want. If you mention slapping meat, you'll summon Gordon Ramsay. I like it. Raging Swan also does, they've got a big series of towns and settlements that they've detailed for you. So you can just drop a random town in there and they've detailed all of the NPCs and all that sort of stuff in there. Personally, I'm not into big lists of NPCs and stuff. I'd rather just have a random table of names and traits and races and classes and stuff, like profession. I had a table of 100 shops. So whenever you have a map and it's a city and you have all these squares on there representing buildings, I want to have a table that I can just roll on it and go, oh, okay, it's a leather working place. So obviously the backyard in this place stinks, or it's a blacksmith, or it's a fine jeweler's, or something like that. Sometimes I'll roll it and go, well, that makes no sense next door to that place, so I'll just look at the next one up or down on the table. And I just fill in, like, I just use the numbers from the random roll table and write them on the little blank buildings, and that gives me I can map out the entire city as the characters explore it. They say, oh, what's this building here? They just stop randomly, and I just roll on the table and say, oh, it's a haberdashery. So easy. I can see the feds busting up a game for D&D contraband. Good luck with that. So illegal PDFs, delete. Snap your tablet. You ain't got nothing on me, copper. Who doesn't loot the body? Exactly. Personally, I would not allow cantrips to be used for healing. Well, how would you explain the Paladin's Lay on Hands ability? That's basically a cantrip. When you think about it. Are you sure you loot the body? It's full of rot grubs. Sky, if AJ, Jordan, and Mr. X did videos where they hung out and just read off random tables and maybe created some sort of story or narrative, I would listen. Yeah, that's right up my alley. I'd certainly do that. So if I was going to make a PDF book, it would be random roll tables. It would be a system of random rolling an entire area. Like you could literally do a hex crawl adventure with just random rolls. So the DM would basically sit back and go, okay, we've got a burg. Okay, so it's a walled settlement. It's got 16 shops. It's got one guild. It's run by a noble family. They are in conflict with a local merchant. There is a nearby settlement of lizard folk in a swamp. The swamp is cursed. The trees are elven. There is a pirate ship wrecked in the middle of the swamp. It is haunted by a beholder. See what I mean? How to D&D, sneaking in with the insider knowledge. Hello, Fred. Good morning. I think videos from AJ, Mr. X, and Jordan and Dungeon Dad are very, very likely. Uh-huh. You'd buy that book today? Thank you. Kobold stuffed it with angry bees. Gino, what? If I were able to steal a handful of Orcus's pubic hair, what would I do with it? Nothing? What? First of all, he's a demon, so I would like contain it and lock it away somewhere and fire it into deep space. I don't know. Hey, Gadzooks, thank you. If you were a box featured in a what? If you were in a box featured in a campaign, what would you be and what would your profession be? Well, I've actually been adapted when Esper's Esoterica, when Esper finishes his book, Esper the Bard, there's a version of me in there in game stat form, but there's also a version of me on D&D Beyond, I believe, as a player character or an NPC. I should make myself as an NPC and put it on D&D Beyond. Link it in my video so you can just put it in there. Essentially, I'm a sage. I don't have a lot of like magic and stuff, and I'm not really a combat specialist. I'm a sage. Have you ever, in my history of D&D, ever encountered a neutral or good-aligned illithid? No. In my personal history of D&D, I have not. Lore Keeper. Yep. What does the trees are elven mean? It means that they were planted by elven and they come from the Outer Planes, possibly. Or they're ancient trees from, like, Avoria. Like, for instance, the Weldath, which is over the mountains from, it's between Tethir and Arm. For instance, the Weldath has a lot of trees that were planted by elves 1,000 years ago. So they're elven trees. They own them. They made them. They planted them there. But, I mean, it can mean whatever you want it to mean, right? That's the whole idea. You just put the trees are dwarven. It's like, what? Dwarven trees? So if you start chopping down those trees, you're possibly going to run into problems with dwarves. He knows things and he drinks the mead. It's true. The trees speak Vietnamese. Evil needs a book. It's always just been evil equals petty and greedy. Well, we've had the Book of Vile Darkness, and we've had Champions of Valor and Champions of something else. Ruin, I think it was. Thanks, Moonring. Would I be okay with an Ixodsarchital were-snail? Yeah. As my worshipper? Yeah. There's a new evil book on Kickstarter, of course. Gotta be. You pledged for Esper's Emporium, so we'll look for that. Good. Were snails? Does a were snail howl at the moon? Meow. I don't know what would a were snail sound like? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, thanks, Hamilton Jack. You're a class act. Oh, thanks. Have I heard of Foo Creatures? Yes, I have. And Hollyphants. Do you know much about Hollyphants? We're about to learn about Hollyphants. Video incoming on Hollyphants. Which class, though? My class is Sage. Elven trees to me means it used to be an elven forest. They left because it became swampy, abandoned, a dryad, lizard folk moved in a low-grade war with the dryad. Outsiders think forest haunted. Yeah. Gary, exactly, Mike. Nice spotting. The Sioux monster is the skull-faced monkey from the Dragon magazine. Yeah. They're terrifying. I'd hate to. Those things would scare the piss out of me. Like, I think chimps are terrifying enough as it is. Whoa. What do you think of the anime Made in the Abyss? Very much a D&D campaign. Yeah, probably. Well, people, I'm kind of running out of steam here. I've yet to have breakfast and I've got work to do. If you are playing Magic the Gathering Arena and you happen across Glue Stick, that's me. There will be no mercy. You can say hello, but I'll ignore you. Midnight is inching closer. Yeah, I got to let you fine folks go back to your games and avoiding sleep. Could a stone or tooth be used to make a type of translation stone for one language? Yeah, for sure. The Rosetta Stone. Basically, it would be it would be a translation of an ancient language into a possibly a lost but still known language. So that was what the Rosetta Stone was. Basically, it was a translation. It was the same text written in different languages, and archaeologists knew one language, so they could decipher what the other language was. And that was an absolute bolt of lightning for them understanding like Sanskrit and hieroglyphics and stuff like that. All right, everybody. Do you still dabble in crafts? Yeah, look. Here's Piercer. Here's Roper. Still unfinished. Here's a just a test beholder I made, testing out the floating sort of thing. Yeah, I still craft, that's for sure. Not so much terrain and stuff, and mainly just sort of like little, character figures and stuff like that. But I still craft stuff. All right, catch you later, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back again probably the same time next week. So Sunday evening for most of you around the world. You post Has-Been Hotel and Hollow Knight fan art on Twitter. Nice. I'm really loving the web cartoon, what's it called? The Weekly Roll webtoon. And it's got like Sir Beckett, and there's a gnome necromancer. Oh, there's a dwarven necromancer, and it's really good. Really good. Anyway, time for me to go. Catch you later, everybody.